And so I brought some newspaper articles. Particularly, this one's interesting based on Councilmember Campos's comments, generate those funds. Additionally, there was another article, so about AB 68. Here's another article that ran in the Sunday paper yesterday about how the state is taking away more and more of our authority. All of these ran Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. So I didn't go back. You can look at the dates. They're all there. So we need to move forward and get this thing approved on it. I'm going to ask the developer to come back up, and I'm going to ask another question. If we can have their representative come up.
Mr. Mayor, you need to, that request needs to come through you.
I'm sorry. Can we have I have one question.
Yeah, please do. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So one of the comments was that there would not be a design standard to hold you to. Are you willing to work with the city, not only in terms of providing inclusionary housing per our ordinance, but working on design standards?
Councilmember McReynolds, I appreciate the question. The answer is yes. Look like once that goes through design review, planning commission, it has to come back to city council for final approval prior to going to coastal commission.
Mayor, a point of order. It's highly irregular to be taking questions from the public during deliberation. If you could please restrict your answer to the question that was asked. Could you
Mr.
restate
Johnson,
the question?
there's one mayor, and let me, so address it to me, not to a guest.
I have one other question for you. In terms of the infrastructure that's come up a lot, are you interested in developing a community that doesn't have water pressure and where the sewage doesn't flow out?
We are not interested in doing that.
For the city council, I just want to make it clear to the council, the city will not have any ability to require anything. It would be the developer voluntarily agreeing to whatever objective design standards they would like to apply.
Point of order, Mayor.
Yes.
We're here to look at some options, not to do arbitration. And so we need to follow the procedure. There's a motion on the floor.
Yes, I accept that, but we're looking for a solution, and I'm trying to get to a solution.
Mayor, I'd like to call a vote on Councilmember Campos's point of order. We are deviating so far from council deliberations. This is not a public hearing with an applicant. This should have been turned over to council for deliberations rather than a negotiation between the mayor and the applicant.
Mr. Mayor, I would also add that a development agreement has a specific statutory process which must be followed. It has to go to the Planning Commission for approval, recommendation, and then to the City Council, and then it's effective 30 days after final approval, since it is in fact an ordinance. So there is some time involved in that.
Okay, Mr. McReynolds?
Instead of a development agreement, let's call it a term sheet that would come back to us. So that way it doesn't have to go through that larger legislative process. I would like to have a date certain that it comes before council on May 22nd, the second meeting, which would be our second regular meeting in May, and that the developer would withdraw their application once the staff report is posted. So, because they don't want to give up their rights, just like, but if we're going to vote on something, then the application has to be withdrawn before we vote on it.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
The term sheet would not be binding on subsequent owners of the property. Development agreements run with the land. A term sheet would not. So I just wanted to make that clear for the council.
Even better.
May 22nd.
So if I can make an amendment, or propose an amendment, that they would need to withdraw the application on May 12th, Friday, May 12th. So before the staff report would then post on Monday, the 16th. That's our general goal right now, correct?
We're 2 weeks away, just to be clear. We're 2 weeks
So
away from.
we can ask the applicant if they'd be willing to give the extension through May 12th.
Can we just repeat? There's a lot of moving parts back and forth. I think the city clerk, are you also confused as I am?
I'll need a little clarification on the motion.
So we're going to come back with a term sheet on Monday, May 22nd. So staff is concerned that they have to, their 60-day letter is due within 15 days or something like that, correct?
Correct. And we can still issue that letter and still be working towards a term sheet.
So would the applicant be willing to allow staff the additional time before they're required to issue that letter?
I don't know if I'm allowed to give staff additional time. My attorney is listening. Let me just check in with him, because I don't want to commit to something that legally I'm not allowed to.
Okay,
Give me a second.
so you check on that, and if so, everybody
But
agrees to
we-
give
but we are-
everybody the time
Yes,
to get to a term sheet by May 15th, or May 12th, sorry, May 12th.
we are willing to be flexible. I think this idea of a term sheet, this, defined time where we have to work with staff to come back here, I think is a great idea, and I appreciate the flexibility and the creativity. So per the government statute, I can't extend the PSA time limits per government statute 65957.
The city should issue its letter.
We will issue our letter.
And the attorney can speak up if that's necessary as well.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So can we, again, we were still doing the May 22nd.
Council meeting, so May 15th, May 12th, sorry. So by May 12th, this is done,
Term sheet on May 12th.
right? And you guys come to agreement, you're going to withdraw your application.
Okay. Thank you.
And just, Mr. Mayor, a point of clarification as well. Is the intent to have a development agreement, assuming that we reach terms? What are we doing about a term
That-
sheet?
We'll leave that up to staff to come back in terms of how that has to happen.
Okay.
The goal is to move this forward.